Talk shoes. Recorded live.
Hello, everyone. This is Letzlinger. My real name is Steve Letzinger, but I got that handle years ago from my fishing and hunting and shooting sports that I've been involved with in most of my life. This is Politics and Preppers here at TalkShoe.com, and the call ID number is 120315. This is episode 9. Just got back from the lake, having my Father's Day stuff with my dad and my kids, and I didn't really prepare well for tonight's show. But then I normally don't prepare real well. I'm going to try to fix that one of these days, hopefully soon. Al, who was on the show last weekend, we had a long talk, and he came up with a program that'll help me. I just got to go get that program and get it loaded and learn how to use it. I can put my notes in there and really easy to sort through, so hopefully that will help. But I think what I'll start with tonight is kind of touching on part of last week's, maybe even the week before. The topic is, why have we let the left and the socialists and if you've been with us, we've been talking about Agenda 21 and how far-reaching it is and how manipulated we've been, and it seems like they've succeeding in making the topics unmute. Hello, guest 2. Can you hear me? Well, I unmuted it and then it muted back. So either they muted it or I'm having technical problems. I unmuted it again. We'll see what happens.
Yes. I'm unmuted now. I can.
Okay.
Okay. Well, my name is Jeff calling from Chelsea, Massachusetts, and I figured I'd chime in on politics and prepping. Well,
okay.
Well, right off the bat, I live in a very Marxist liberal state of Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And that's the politics of my state, far left. I mean, home of gay marriage, home of Harvard University, that is the college of communism and socialism and Islam and all the other isms. Well, when it comes to prepping, very simple. Get out of debt right off the bat. I mean, if you own a house, pay the house off. But you know what? In a state heavily regulated, it's almost impossible for a person to buy and own a house.
Well, even if you buy it and pay it off, the government can still come take it from you if you don't pay your taxes. And
oh, you're right.
That's good, and they'll probably figure out some other way to take it from you. They'll say, well, we need that property because there's a big business down the street wants to buy this property and put their store on it. And then the local government will say, hey, well, it's ours now. Here's a couple of pennies for it and go on about your business. And by the way, if you cry about it, we'll take you to court and sue the hell out of you.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. Eminent domain.
Yep, eminent domain.
And
we've had some problems with that down here in Texas.
Well, I didn't know that, but I know one thing. I think it started up in Connecticut and spread. I mean, Massachusetts. I wouldn't be surprised if we had it in Massachusetts because it's such a liberal Marxist state. So, but anyways. As far as prepping is concerned, once a person gets out of debt, they're in a position to do something. Well, up in Massachusetts, certain cities especially, it's almost impossible to get a firearms permit. Almost impossible. Even if you own a business, like the place where I live in, they believe that only cops should get the firearm permits. And my city is a sanctuary city for illegal aliens.
Yeah, I have that problem down here. They don't admit to it, but the town that I'm located near, which is San Antonio, Texas, if you bring up the topic, they'll say no, but they are. I mean, everything they do, all the way they react to everything, they are too. So,
I'm surprised. I'm not surprised because Texas is right on the Mexican border. So what you're saying is a true statement. But at least in Texas, you can have the right to bear arms. I mean, up here.
Yeah. And I would have to ask for a permit.
Yeah, yeah. No, that's cool. No, up here, I tried to go to a school that teaches that teaches people how to use the baton, mace, and pepper spray and handcuff people. But here's the caveat: the instructor told me you have to have a signed paper from your job stating that the job is for armed people who use handcuffs and use mace and pepper spray and so forth. Because I won't sign the paper. I mean, here I am with the ability to get the money and same nonsense. And you know where this is going towards? I mean, because you see prepping and so forth, you have to get out of the big cities. I mean, if you stay in the big cities, you're pretty much screwed because I believe that this is where the car is going towards. We have Robert Mugabe in office. Robert Mugabe is our president, not Obama. Obama is just a disguise. The spirit is that of Robert Mugabe. And I'll tell you what I believe deep down inside. I believe that eventually we're going to be invaded by foreign countries. Jeff Nyquist has videos on YouTube, and he said Russia will take over Alaska and part of Canada. China will take over the lower 49 states and allow the third world looting rights, and that's where this country is going towards. I'll tell you what I believe. I believe that the minorities in this country will be used as the lumpen proletariat. That's in the book called Red Cocaine, and they will be used as safe houses for the invading army coming into this country.
Well, I wouldn't doubt it. I don't know exactly. I've seen and heard lots of different scenarios about what may be planned, what's going on, how's it going to happen, and you could be right, but I do believe no matter how it happens, we're coming up for some big problems that we have to get prepared for it. And even if you live in a town, this is what I was having a conversation with a friend of mine. He lives out in the country. But not a long ways out in the country, but he is out in the country ways. But he's near San Antonio as well. Yeah. I can drive from downtown San Antonio to his house in probably 20 minutes on a good day, right? And I live outside of San Antonio, but it's in we'll call it a suburb now. It's not that far away, and it's not the open country it used to be when I first moved here. But what I was telling him was no matter where somebody's at, like, I'm in an area where I don't think I'm going to be out, depending on the situation. Yeah. If they shut it down, if they shut the highways down, and the military or the police state or whoever comes in force, then I may not make it out. So my best bet, since my kids are grown, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to fight back. Maybe I'll be part of the first line, and I may die, but maybe I'll take a few with me and make it harder for them to get to the people out in the country, and maybe I'll help some of them survive through it. But even people in the cities, I think, ought to be prepared one way or another. Maybe they're going to stay and fight it out. Maybe being prepared won't be in a situation like this. Maybe they'll just be prepared for earthquake or tornado or flood or something. But because there's many different things in the prepping area, there's so many different stages of it. But go ahead. Oh
yes, like I'll give you because I work deep in downtown, in the downtown Boston area. Here is the rundown. The people in Boston don't have a blanking clue of what's going on. I mean,
most of the people I live in my area don't have a blanking clue either. But go ahead.
Oh yes, but Boston is far worse because of the communism, because of the communist propaganda that's been drilled into the people. Now I know it's nationwide and so forth, and there's universal rules out there, and I have to agree with that. But in Massachusetts, we're a special state, like New York and other places. I mean, I believe that Boston's one of the cities that's vulnerable for a terrorist attack. I mean, because of our stance on gay marriage, because of just the wickedness, we are really vulnerable for a terrorist attack like a 9/11, and I believe that my city would be doomed, and I really believe that people would actually just go with the government and scapegoat the patriots. I mean, the Northeast. If any of you out there listening live in the Northeast, get out. At least go up to New Hampshire. I plan on moving up to New Hampshire, and I got some prep and so forth. It's not perfect. I do have a car. I do have a bicycle, though I do have to get it tuned up. I got winter clothes and so forth. And most people, I believe, are just living day by day. And it's the big cities with minorities. And I'm not a racist, with any stretch of the imagination, but for generations, the communists have built up the black and Hispanic community as the Lupin proletariat, which roughly means the riffraff, the shock troops that will be used to shock the country into martial law. And once they do their job, they'll be killed off. The homosexuals killed off. This is a communist pattern. The reason why Obama is for homosexuals is because he's a devout Muslim, and he knows they're going to be killed off anyways. The reason why he's for abortion is because Obama is an Arab Muslim, and he knows that the blacks and Hispanics are going to kill themselves off. What does he care? America is just opening up space for Red China to take it over. Obama, deep down inside, is a communist Muslim like a Yasser Arafat, and a hardcore communist like Robert Mugabe. Pamela Geller talked about Obama being an Arab. And Abby Lipkin, if you ever heard of Abby Lipkin, he talks about Obama being a Muslim, and so forth. The Middle East considers him a Muslim, and the only people who are fooled are us, because we've been brain deviled by Fox News, CNN, and all the other news outlets. But anyways, I will let you go. Do have a great night.
All right, thank you. Well, I'll have to agree that Obama is a Muslim, or whatever his real name is. And I was asleep for a little while. I was kind of paying attention to politics, but kind of with a blind eye. I'm a conservative. Well, I'm not a conservative if conservatism is sitting back and letting them get away with this kind of crap. And most of the Republicans are asleep, or if they're up in the Pentagon, not the Pentagon, whether they're in the White House or Congress or representative, it don't matter. Most of them aren't worth the damn either. They're either asleep or in on it, because they think, we're smarter than everybody else, and everybody else is a bunch of dummies out there, and we know what's best. To hell with the Constitution. We'll make them think they're more important than what they are. We'll give them these votes, which it's already been proven, been rigged over and over again. But for a while, I was wondering, well, why would Obama be saying he's a Christian and he's not? And then if you look at his actions, and he supports the Muslim movements, and really acts more like a Muslim than a Christian, because he's attacking Christian ideas all over the place. But he doesn't do that to the Muslim faith. And why are they pushing so hard for Muslim different agendas all over the place, but yet they attack Christianity anytime they get a chance? And maybe not right out directly, but by taking one thing that Christians believe in and attacking it, and another part of Christianity attacking it. Well, it's because he is a Muslim. And why? Where does this fit in? Obama doesn't believe in the Constitution. He doesn't believe in freedom, and the Muslim religion in general doesn't either. You look back in history, and even you don't have to look back very far. You can look back, and there's been many times where one of the leaders of a Muslim area or Muslim group has made jokes of, can you believe letting women have rights? Can you believe letting people vote on who's going to be the leader? And it's like it's out just ridiculous to even think about doing something like that. Well, that's part of the faith. And if you look back, and it, over and over again, it's just throughout history, it's over and over and over again. If you just sit back and you look and you do your research, you'll see it. The same kind of stuff we're going through now has happened before. They get groups together, they use them when they're finished with them, they throw them away, they kill them. But they can use them against each other or start fights, and they step in and look like the big good guys. You know, we're going to take care of this, we're going to fix this. And once they get all the power, they start getting rid of all these groups because they're not really any use to them. They didn't like them in the first place, but they use them. They either use them for starting things. Well, I already said it just a minute ago, so I'll just go on. But I have to agree there. But what I was talking about earlier when I first started was, we've let people shut us up, and we've gotten to the point where, well, we got to be careful about who we talk to this kind of stuff. They're going to think we're idiots. They're going to treat us like shit. Use my language again. I'm going to have to try to work on that. But like today, I wanted to. I made a run into San Antonio, and I usually don't spend money in San Antonio, but there was two places I needed to go, and I was in San Antonio anyway for some business. So I stopped in at the store to get a new mic for this podcast. I wanted a better mic. But I didn't bring my notes with me. There was several of them I wanted to look at, and I had my notes on what the numbers were, what the names, and why I wanted to look at that particular one, because I wanted to talk to somebody that knew about mics. So I walk in, and I'm looking around. I can't find a mic that I can remember the name of. So the lady behind the counter, young lady behind the counter, asked me if I needed some help, and I told her what I was thinking, and I said, I can't think of the name of this mic, and the only thing I can tell you is Alex Jones uses one. And I go, most people don't even know who Alex Jones is. She goes, oh, I'm from Austin. Originally, I lived there for a long time, and I know exactly who Alex Jones is and what he's talking about. And she goes, this country, the people just are asleep. They just don't understand how bad things are. Well, I wanted to give her my email or discuss it with her so we could discuss it further, because she had said that she likes to research the topics that we've discussed on this show, and we have been discussing and will be further going into. And I couldn't even talk to her about it. I was afraid the people that work with her might overhear and then maybe treat her the way I've been treated by a couple of times by some of the people that I work with when they find out not only how far, they don't even know how far I'm into this right now, because I had a problem with at least one, so, that really he tried to get me fired. He would lie about me. He'd do all kinds of stuff. Luckily, the people that own the place know me better than that. They've known me for many years. And anyway, I didn't want her to get in that situation. And I was going to give her my email, but I was afraid it was going to... Now, this doesn't really have anything to do with this part, but I was afraid she might think I'm flirting with her, and I'm happy to marry a man, and I didn't want to flirt with her, and that's way too young for me, and that wouldn't have been the intent. But I wanted to just say, look, here's my email. What we were talking about, why don't you email me, and I'll give you some information, and if you want, I could use some help. I'm trying to gather a group of people that can kind of pitch in and come up with topics and research things. And but I couldn't even do that because two of her fellow workers came back behind the counter about that time, and I didn't want to take a chance that one of us would say something that might start a conversation that might, get her in trouble with some of her fellow workers, colleagues. So hopefully I'll be able to go back down there with the name of the mics I wanted to look at, because I don't think they even had it, but maybe I can give her some information then and explain to her, I'm not flirting, but here's my email if you're interested in working with us here, maybe pitching in, because she had said something about maybe she had kind of thought about starting a group, but it's so hard to find people without getting across the wrong people and starting problems. Well, There's my point. And I'm not the only one that's worried about how people around me are going to react. Now, I know maybe we shouldn't care, but in that instance, I couldn't take a chance on getting her in trouble and getting her, in a bad situation. But what does that say? What does that say about this country? When we can't discuss things, if you're a communist, you can go right out and open and talk about it, and nobody even gives a damn. But if you talk bad about communism or bad about socialism, or that you think Obama is not legally a legal alien, or if you think he's a communist, or if you think he's a Muslim, or if you think he's whatever, that doesn't conform to their way of thinking, you're attacked. And you're crazy, you're an idiot, you're a dumbass. I don't think we are. I think we're waking up. Some of us woke up sooner than others. I just recently, I'll say, woke up all the way and opened my eyes and investigated and been able to see what's going on. But how do we fix that? I don't know. I think we just keep talking like we've been doing. I do this show. You get on social networking areas and find people that are like-minded. Like Al did with me, he just kept feeding me a little information here and a little information there, but he didn't make a big deal out of it. And for y'all that might be new, Al has been on the show in the past and will probably be on in the future. And we've got some other side projects we're going to do, reviewing some guns and different topics, and we'll be going there. And Mike, he had to work tonight, so he's going over a bunch of health topics for future reference, and as soon as he's ready, we're going to start doing some of that. And there's just so many topics to touch on this. It's going to, just not even just politics, but just on the prepper side, there are so many topics, so many things to review, so many different scenarios you might want to get ready for. I started out just getting ready for, I'll just say an event, a weather event. Whether it be floods. I don't live that far away from an area where we could get a hurricane come through here and really blast us hard and flood the area in. And I only figured I needed to be ready for 3 days. So when I get to the 3 days, I wanted, okay, now I'm going to go for the week. And I just kept going. And now I'm going, I have to get ready for more than what Mother Nature might do. Now I'm awake. And sometimes I wish I wasn't, because it was so much easier when I could just go along throughout my life and not even really worry about more than just Obama, his stupid shit. But it doesn't matter who wins. Now here's something. Well, it doesn't matter who wins the presidency this time. I'm kind of jumping to another topic here, but along the same lines. I've heard recently, with some new things that have been going on in politics, that, what does it matter? Who wins the presidency? They're both from the same people. They're both backed by the same people, funded by the same people. If we keep Obama, at least we know who the enemy is, and people will maybe keep fighting harder, make some changes. But if we get Romney, maybe people will kind of say, okay, now it's okay. We can relax. We're not going to fight it this hard. We'll keep our eyes open a little bit, even though their eyes really aren't even open for a lot of them. But so who would it matter? Which would it matter? I'm not sure what the answer to that would be. I just cannot get myself to vote for Obama. But I really am sick and tired of voting for the least of the worst. So I can't just waste my vote by not voting. So maybe I put a write-in in, and I help Obama. But if I really don't believe that it makes a difference, then might as well follow my conscience. And I think a lot of people are going to do that. And I'm not even sure, maybe they are right. That it's not going to make a difference which one it is. It's just a different degree of bad. So, I was telling people, if you don't vote, if you're going to vote and you can't do the right ends, you got to go for, Romney. And because then you're going to split the vote up, and then Obama's going to end up, well, it doesn't make a difference. I will vote your conscience. I'm not even going to argue the point anymore, I don't think. Just whatever people want to do, that's okay, because we just got to keep fighting no matter what. Maybe we can get some people to wake up and keep talking about it, keep pushing it. If each one of us can get just one or two more people, and each one of them one or two more people, it'll just keep snowballing, and maybe we'll have enough power one of these days to kick some butt in the elections and get rid of all these idiots up there on both sides and get a third party going that's, you want to call it libertarian or constitutionalist, I don't know, whatever you might want to call it. Maybe something can happen there. But I refuse to believe we can't win, and I refuse to just sit back and do nothing anymore. You gotta start someplace, and look what happened with Hitler, Everybody stood back and it's not that bad, it's not that bad. I don't want to get involved. I don't want to deal with that. Well, look where that ended up. Of course, in the long run, we got rid of him, but look how many people died because of it. Look how many other situations in and around it create even more deaths. Millions and millions and millions of people that weren't even combatants. They were just civilians being murdered, annihilated by leaders that thought they were better than everybody else. And I don't give a damn how smart they are. They don't have the right to play God, even if they don't believe in God. They don't have the right to do that. They're not any better than the rest of us. Just because somebody's smarter doesn't mean they're your ruler, and doesn't mean they have the right to tell you whether you get to live or die. And if they do kill you, they're guilty of murder. Or conspiracy to murder. Maybe they didn't kill you. Maybe they got one of their people they hired, or they're just not even. My thoughts get so involved with so many different directions these things can go. Sometimes I forget exactly where I was going with something, but I just refuse to just sit still anymore. Let's see. We've been doing an hour for the show lately when the other guys are on, and I know something. What I would like to see is I want to do this without violence. I don't want to have to see a bunch of people die, and I don't want to die unless I have to. So I don't think now we could ever even come close to it, but I would like to see enough people get upset enough, get their backs up and want to do something bad enough that maybe someday we could put something together where we put a couple million people, 2, 3, 4 million people, just all get together some weekend and go to D.C. and just shut the place down. They'll start listening, or they'll try to make a big fight out of it, and they'll try to start something. But at least we're not standing still. And if they want to make a big, they'll hire somebody to go bomb in there, and then they'll come in and act like they're trying to overtake the government. But I think if it was done right, and I think you could get past that, if people knew we were there to be peaceful and to make a point, I think something could be there. Now, I don't even know if it's the best idea. Maybe some other better ideas out there. We've talked about in the past, it doesn't take much to shut down highways. And, you could, there's all kinds of ways. You could get people together and just go to the main intersections of most major cities and just say your car broke down. Stop right there. Pick a day to do it and, protest that way. There's all kinds of ways to get, hell, I bet you could get a couple of good-looking women to stand at each major corner on a major intersections around major highways, and just the fact that there's a couple of good-looking women hanging around there with bikinis on would shut down the traffic You know how guys are. I'm one of them. I like bikinis, good-looking women in bikinis. But anyway, there's all kinds of thoughts out there. I don't know what the answers are, but I'm going to keep fighting for them. And I don't think it's any one group. I think it's going to have to be a lot of different groups from different thinking points, but all that believe in the Constitution. You don't have to all agree on the same topics. But if you agree about the Constitution, then you can't go wrong. And if you live up to the Constitution and you fight for the Constitution and you vote against everybody that doesn't like the Constitution, that's proven they don't like the Constitution, and just because they say they like it doesn't mean they do. You got to look back at these people. You got to go back and research them, see how they voted. What have they been doing there before they went for this, whatever office it is? And it really doesn't take much to find out what these people have done. It doesn't take much at all. If they're running for office, they've been out in the open. They've been doing something someplace that you'll hear about, unless maybe it's a local office. But even then, you'll find people that know the people, and you can find out about them. It doesn't take that much. So I think that's going to be all for tonight. We're going to be back next Saturday night at 10 o'clock Central Time here at TalkShoe.com. Call ID number 120315, Politics and Preppers. I'm still working on trying to get some topics done on the show during the week where we get together and we're going to review and talk about prepper topics that don't have to do with politics. Guns, survival food, survival techniques. There's just so many things we can review. So that's it for tonight. Thanks for stopping by, guest 2. Hope you enjoyed the show. Thank you. Goodbye.